Since I made a video bashing one of Hasbro's absolute worst 12-inch figures before the shampoo bottles, I decided, hey, let's take a look at one of Hasbro's very best 12-inch Star Wars action figures, that being the 2004 Vintage Original Trilogy Collection Boba Fett. The Vintage Original Trilogy Collection Revenge of the Sith was basically the last era of Hasbro's 1/6 scaled cloth figures. After that, they pretty much handed the reins to Sideshow, saying, Sideshow, do your thing. They're way more expensive, and then Hot Toys made them even more expensive, but even better. So basically, yeah, what you're seeing here is a 2004 $30 1/6 scale Boba Fett. Naturally, you would just hear that and think, wow, this thing is going to be absolutely awful. But no, it's actually very nice for the cost and for what you get. Of course, it is not comparable to Hot Toys or Sideshow. It is just not. But it's very nice. It is very nice, and comparable to other 12-inch Star Wars figures, it's one of the best from Hasbro. One of the very, very best. Now, before I really talk about the figure itself, I want to talk about the box, because the big thing of the vintage... Hello, darkness. Now, before I talk about the figure, I want to talk about the box, because the big thing about the Vintage Original Trilogy Collection was that they recreated the original vintage toy boxes. Not only for the 3 3/4-inch figures, but also for the 12-inch. You have this really nice... box for the box, Star Wars The Original Trilogy Collection. Mine's a little beat up. I got it for $40, which is a very good deal for this figure. Nice Star Wars logo right here. And then here we have that classic VOTC read-up that I think was also used in, a variation of it was used in earlier renditions of the Vintage Collection. Then here you can see a picture of the blue version of this figure, because there's two variants. There is a blue suit and a gray suit. No, it does not mean Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, because both of them are technically Empire Strikes Back. It's just, it's really odd, because this guy has some inaccuracies to Empire and some accuracies to Jedi, and, vice versa. So let's just call him Boba Fett. We're not going to specify which movie he comes from. He's just a Boba Fett. Anyways, yeah, that's the blue version. And then here's the other 12-inch figures. Well, the Chewbacca should be there instead of Boba. I don't know why Chewie isn't there. I have the other ones. They're very nice as well. And then here's some of the standard figures. All of those are really nice besides the Obi-Wan. I don't know what they're thinking with that. And then here you got the proof of purchase. Whoa! I love how... Let's just say I miss mail-aways. I wish I would bring them back. Anyways, let's look at that original vintage packaging, because it's really, really nice. Thankfully, even though the outer package is a little dinged up, the vintage packaging is preserved. Right there you have a little pamphlet of the other, a little printed on pamphlet of the other figures in the line for Original Trilogy Collection, and this is amazing. Thankfully they didn't bend to the flap here, because this flap is actually supposed to cover this little thing right here. And you can see it's kind of a cover. I'm surprised it's dusty. I wonder if anyone displayed this out of the box at any point. It's kind of, I don't know, it's odd. Anyways. Yeah, it's kind of funny. One thing I never really realized until just kind of recently. Nowadays, 12-inch figures come in like the really weird, rectangular, cheapy boxes. That's basically what they came in back in the day, but they had a nice fancy cardboard flap for them. Really goofy picture of Boba Fett down there. That's kind of funny. But then off to the side, another picture of the toy. Really cool stuff, honestly. I like the pictures from the movie. Then create the fun and excitement of Star Wars with posable Boba Fett figure. That kind of sounds like English, but I don't know. Yeah, nice little Kenner logos. It's a nice box. When it comes to vintage original trilogy, vintage collection stuff, I think it's important to talk about the box for a little bit. Anyways, hello everyone who just wanted to see the figure. Here you go. 12-inch Boba Fett. He's pretty nice. Looking at the details, this thing is without a doubt Boba Fett. I think the sculpt of the helmet's actually really solid. It's better than some other figure sculpts I've seen for the Fett helmet. I really do appreciate that design. It has really decent paint, too. I mean, the silver could be better, but for a 2004 $30 12-inch figure, it's pretty amazing, the deco on the helmet there. And then the backpack is a giveaway that it's kind of more Empire Strikes Back based, because it's just the two-tone shades of green with silver weathering. Should be way more colorful for the Jedi version than right there. And I'm sure there's more even minor differences between Empire and Jedi. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, because I'm not I used to be that deep into Star Wars to know all the different variations of the armor, but not really anymore. I really like the Wookiee braids. I really do enjoy that Wookiee braid detail. That's kind of stitched in right there underneath the shoulder pad, so I really like that detail. The armor is really good. I just see this guy and I'm reminded of Star Wars Battlefront, not the new one, the old one. Just playing as Boba, running around. Really like the gloves. The gloves look really nice. The armor, the chest armor is a little crooked for some reason. I feel like it's kind of a little puffier on this side of the chest, but I think it still looks really nice. It's just so good. Then that little bullet hole right there is sculpted. And you also do have the sculpted damage on the crotch cod piece equals the crod. So, yeah, you have a little bullet hole there. Really nice paint on the belt. Even though for some very unfortunate reason there is no little pistol and holster. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking excluding that, but they excluded it. Yet again, that's more of a Return of the Jedi detail, but it has a Empire backpack, whatever. The belt's looking nice otherwise, though. The cape is all folded up, kind of stitched together. I don't think it has any printed detail. No, it's just kind of the cape. It's just there. I like these pouches because they can slide and they can open up, which is really appreciated. All four of the pouches can open up. The knee pads look pretty nice. Then he also has little tools. He does have little... Whoa, okay. He does have little tools in his pouches here. These are some of his accessories. I will tell you there are a few things you're going to need to look out for if you're getting this figure loose, because there are some minor things that are going to be missing. So you have one tool piece there, and you have two tool pieces right here. You have one right here, and I feel like they just kind of gave up sculpting it. It's just like, what are these even supposed to be? I'm sure someone knows. Like, oh, this is this right here is an intergalactic cheese grater. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little tool. And then you have the feet. The really cool kind of spurs on them. I don't know. It's like he makes a spur sound, but he doesn't really have spurs on his feet or his boots. So that's kind of interesting. One little accessory that will very likely be missing on this if you're getting it loose. These are Velcro strapped on. These little pieces of fabric around the boot. They just kind of keep their purpose is to keep the cloth kind of nice and tidy down there. So it's not just going crazy. So it actually looks decent and nice, which I really appreciate that little detail. But yeah, something that's very likely going to be missing if you're looking to get this guy loose. So be on the lookout for that. The antenna. This is definitely a problem with some copies of the figure because it's very warped. I've seen some that are horribly, horribly warped. Thankfully, though, if you just put it under a hairdryer, it will completely go limp and you can reshape it, then chill it real quick. And it will look all nice and tidy again. Also, look, it folds down. Isn't that pleasant? Anyways, let's look at his gun because I'm not sure how I feel about it because I feel like there's just something missing. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't studied the weaponry of Boba Fett in a while. I'm pretty sure this is his ESB rifle. I could be mistaken. Don't ostracize me for my mistakes. I'm not a perfect human being. Anyways, yeah. I feel like there's just a detail that's not accurate there. I mean, I don't know how factual that is. There's a picture of the ESB rifle so you can get a comparison. Hooray! There's the differences, I guess. But yeah, it still serves its purpose. It still looks nice, and he still holds it really well. So that's really no issue there. And then the backpack is also removable. It's just on two pegs. And they, thank God, stay on nice and solid. I have had some figures with backpacks that will not stay on to save their life. So the head actually is on a ball joint and has really, really nice range. Move it down, up, side to side. No removable helmet, because why would there be? Even though the 12-inch Django, which I'll compare him to in a little bit, does have a removable helmet. The shoulders, this armor piece is connected to the general plastic armor piece there. So they move up that much. They move forward about that until it kind of gets a little goofy. So you have elbow swivel, not really bicep, the 90 degree at the elbow as well. Then you have kind of forearm gauntlet rotation, nothing else at the wrist, unfortunately, because I wish he kind of had some wrist articulation there, but whatever. It'll work. Swivel at the waist there. Pretty standard range at the legs. Then I would say this is pretty much as far as you can get the legs spread before that fabric is going to start tearing. The knee bend is pretty average for old 1/6 scale figures like this. Then pretty average foot joint. Did I mention I love Hasbro 12-inch stuff? It's a guilty pleasure of mine because they're not perfect. They're not trying to be like Hot Toys or Sideshow, but they're just very aesthetically pleasing to me. They're nice, they're large, they're in charge, and they're just really cool. So let's kind of get him in a cool pose here, maybe sort of holding his belt, but not really. And then let's compare him to his dad, because they also made a 12-inch figure of his dad, and it is another one of the greats. Definitely another very great figure from Hasbro. Unfortunately, one minor issue is that the Django is just kind of a shorter figure. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it's a deluxe figure and they crammed in tons of accessories and thus they just kind of shrunk it a bit. It does have the same kind of gimmicks though with this, and it does have removable helmet with, for the time, talking like 2002, a very, very nice likeness to Tamora Morrison. That's even better than the classic Sideshow likenesses. Now granted though, not as good as that new Hot Toys Cody coming out. But yeah, really good likeness to Tamora Morrison there. Overall, man, these figures look great together. I mean, of course, there's a slight height difference, but who's really bothered by that? Who really cares? It's Hasbro 12-inch goodness. Good old days when Hasbro actually gave a damn. I actually did. I just want to mention it. I did a poll on my community tab, and it's still going to be there if you want to go and vote in that poll. 77% of fans, at least from my little community of like 800 people who participated, prefer the 2008-2012 era of Hasbro Star Wars as the golden age. And then one of the next eras was the era of, OTC, Revenge of the Sith, 30th anniversary, which is this kind of stuff. So yeah, man, those were the good old days. I don't know what Hasbro would do. I wonder what Hasbro would charge for something like this now. Back, like I said, it was $30 back in 2004. I would say they would consider probably charging around $80-$90 for something like this for whatever crazy reason. That's probably the price tag they would put on it, and people would still eat it up. Now granted, that is very similar to the aftermarket price of this figure. It's not cheap because it is Hasbro's best Boba Fett. We don't even need to talk about the Power of the Force 12-inch Boba Fett because oh my god, that thing's a monstrosity. Just Google Power of the Force 12-inch Boba Fett. I don't even want to put a picture on this video because we're talking about nice toys. We're not talking about those. And we're not even going to mention the other 12-inch figure I just reviewed that was god-awful. Anyways, let's get back on track. These figures are great. Out of these two, I don't know. I want to do a review on that Django eventually because it's one of my favorites. Out of these two, I don't know which one I prefer. I mean, I prefer Django as a character because he actually has a character. But that was kind of funny. You got to admit. I don't know. I don't know, man. They're both really nice, and I recommend both of them if you're into classic Star Wars Hasbro stuff, back when it was really awesome. So, that's pretty much it. I'm done rambling. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my social media links down below, as well as my P.O. Box address if you want to send me some cool, radical stuff. Have a good day, guys, and as always, may the Force be with you. Bye.